Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. This is Travis Semulin Sowers, and we are jumping into YouTube draft number 5, I think. Chat, say hello to YouTube. I'm currently on the theory that Synergy is overrated, and we just want good cards. We want to pick good cards for our deck. So we're going to try to pick the good cards out of every pack and play them, and not pick the bad cards and not play those. So far on the stream, we're 5-1 for the day with a 3-0 and a 2-1, both with black-red. Now that we're on YouTube, I suspect we'll get into rogues. But I felt like we were doing better with the decks that were not really looking for synergy so much as just solid cards. Because like the synergy is easy to disrupt. I don't know. It felt like Ixalan a little bit, where there was this promise of tribal decks that just didn't really do anything. Still like the Splans, but I still don't think you can pick them as highly as people were advocating in the beginning of the format. What's up, Seahawk? How you been? At some point, you got to stop screaming. You hurt your lungs. All right, pack one, pick one. We're just looking for good cards. I'm going to take the Inscription of Insight, but the card, because there's a lot of value here. It's usually a 4-mana 5/5, which is nice. It's at the worst case 4-mana draw 2 cards, which is nice. And if you happen to top deck it later, you can get a lot of value out of this. So we're going to take this. It doesn't mean we're blue. The other cards I would be interested in here from just a good card perspective are the Shatterskull Minotaur, the Balagad Recovery, Spoils of Adventure. Although this one has not dramatically impressed me much more than the Divination. Like, it's fine. It's instant. That's nice. You can get a discount. That's nice. You gain some life. That's nice. But I just love 3 mana smooth out my draws. The Brightblade's a pretty good card too, as is Cognition and Baloth. Felidar, kind of felt like you can play that if you have other landfall cards. But if you don't, meh. Here's where they're asking me a little bit to go off of the good card stratagem and maybe try to build around a Scion of the Swarm. Because this is really close to a good card, right? You need to trigger it once for it to be a good card, and you can do that pretty easily in black-white or black-green. If you're doing it in black-red or blue-black, it's not so great. It's fine, but it's not great. What are we looking at if not that? This rare doesn't really do anything. It cycles, but like I'm not taking that. Like I think the next pick would probably be the Priest or the Skellington. And the Skellington is nice and flexible. Like we don't have to weight it that heavily towards this. It doesn't matter so much that it's different from the first. But I think I'm going to take the Scion and see where we go. Because like there's no reason for us to expect that we're going to get to play our first pick. It'd be nice if we get to, but there's no reason to suspect that. So here the cards I'm looking at are Geyser Mage, to an extent Nectar Pot, because it would go nicely with the Scion. But Geyser Mage and Inscription of Insight is a nice start to a blue deck. Some consideration for this. I've been happy with Jund decks too. And we're seeing a lot of the pieces for the red-black party deck, which is interesting. I think one of the reasons that deck is so good is because you do see these pieces a lot. But I'll take a Geyser Mage and see where we go. Remember, we're not any colors yet. We're probably linking onto blue now. Like, we could take another one of these and really try to build around clerics, but I feel like Geyser Mage, Inscription, and Into the Royal is enough to make me say, okay, we're blue, and I'll figure out what else we're doing later. It's not really a concern that it's the only blue if you think about it, right? Because that means that this player, and this player are going to see packs without blue and ideally get out of it. That would be the hope, at least. But like pack 5 is usually where you start to see that first signal where you're like, wait a minute, why is this still here? When you see that, you should usually take that card. If you don't, you should usually just stay in the color that you have your strongest cards in. Yeah, it can happen. So like here, is there a card where you're like, okay, why is this still here? You know, for example, this Broken Wings, it can kill 3 different types of things, all of which are... Yeah, we blue now, yo. We very blue. Abadi abada. So 5 people, no, I picked it 5th. 4 people looked at a Lull Mage's Domination and were like, nah, I'm good. Yeah, that's fair. But again, as long as the good cards are coming, I still want to make sure. This is something I've talked about a lot in the core set, and I didn't really follow this theory so much with this set, but I'm going to begin to, is to make sure you have a reason to be in the colors that you're in. So like none of these are a reason to be in a color that's not blue. So I feel like we should just take a reasonable blue card. I'm not that wary of taking this one. It's just too good. And I think I want the first Stalker over the first Duelist because I kind of want this if I'm Rogues and kind of want this if I'm am or am not. See, Gloom Hunter and Scion of the Swarm are not a reason to be black for me. Let's just get playable blue cards, right? Like, we're getting some indication that maybe Clerics is open because we're seeing some good pieces for it, but I'd rather just have all these good blue cards and figure out which direction we're going later. Now we're getting a little bit of a choice position because we can take the Skulker and get into Rogues potentially, or we could take the Colony and have Kicker open to us. The Dreadworm's been better than I thought it was going to be. I think I'm going to take the Colony, just with the idea that I can probably find another one of these later if I want it. But none of these are a reason to be in any color. They're just playables if we happen to be in that color. ACOG's fine. I don't really want to play 2, but I'll take the first one. And there's nothing to pull me out of blue here, so I'm not going to stress about it too much. So I don't want a second ACOG. This is a little bit of a tough pick for me between the Spoils of Adventure and the Bright Blade. But I think I'm going to take the Bright Blade. This is mostly replaced by a Divination, and I've already got a 4-mana draw some cards spell if I need that. Whereas if green is actually open, I'm usually happy to have 2 of these. This all came back. Blood Beckoning and Blood Price are both interesting card advantage tools. I think I'll take the Beckoning. We could end up black. I'm pretty happy with this. I don't need either of these. And again, the Blood Price is kind of like a bad Inscription of Insight. Nectar Pot's not bad. Mind Drain's not bad. I feel like these are easier to find. So I'm still kind of flirting with green and black. But if we open a good red card, I'll just take it. Because right now we just know that we're blue and don't really care much about the rest of it, right? So we've got Angel, which would certainly be good. Is it good enough to abandon any of these cards? Not really. Like, I don't think it's a reason to be white when I could just take the Falconeer. Like, I'm not going to get 2 of these, right? I guess you never get 2 if you don't take the first one. But it's like Falconeer versus Geyser Mage number 2. I think I'd rather have the Air Elemental here. Especially since, like, we know we're blue. Let's say we had a couple of good white cards over here. Maybe we flirt with this. But there's no bombs. There's no removal. So we're just going to take the good card. There's not a whole lot of difference, except one I know I can play and the other one I can maybe play. So Geopede's kind of the best card here. Again, I don't hate the Blood Priest, and it is another way to interact with this, but I kind of don't care. Like, what are we missing here? A Colossus? I don't care about a Colossus. Okay, I'll take a Geopede. If red's open this way, we'll just be blue-red. I was going to say I'm interested in the Gomafata Vanguard, and then I saw the Royal Mage. Because I'm pretty interested in a Royal Mage. But it does look like red is slightly more open this direction, which is fine by me. There is a Shadow Stinger, which if we wanted to like force into rogues, we could. I feel somewhat obligated to do that for the YouTube drafts, but I'm really trying to focus less on synergy and more just on solid cards. Yeah, if this is my top end, we have functionally no reason to be even thinking about black cards because I've just got 2 air elementals at the top. And I'm pretty dang happy with that. This is basically a 2-drop, right? Yeah, another Falconeer. It's great. Like it's an air elemental with upside in relevant tribes. And if we ever cast anything with kicker, we're good to go. And we have a kicker spell. We have 2. We have 3. Look at me. We're kicking it. Just kicking it. There's a possibility we never find a reason to get into another color and end up mostly blue, playing a couple of green, white, red, whatever cards. Because like I've got some black cards, I just don't really need them. Green is giving us some flexible 2-drops, which is fine. Red's giving us a Geopede, which is pretty good. But that idea of make sure you've got a reason to be playing a particular color has been serving me well. Today. Who knows what tomorrow will bring. So is there anything here that makes you want to be anything besides blue? Because I don't see anything. I just see a Divner, which is like Snapping Drake with upside, which is just spot on fine. I generally like the aesthetic. I'm generally pretty happy with Scorch Riders. I've been pretty happy with Shelter, but yeah, blue flyers. We could do that. We could do that. If we get deep enough in one color, we could definitely do that. So I don't love Spellcraft. I think we would take Riptide if we were sure we're playing green. I think we would take Spellcraft if we're sure we're playing red. I think I still take it, but I'm not like, it's a removal spell. It's okay. The Bright Blade's almost enough to push me in. If the Spellcraft wasn't here, I'd take it. But I'm still not sure what our second color is. Molten Blast means I can probably buckle in on red. Because this means I've got some artifact removal main deck, which I like. I get a Spellcraft and I get a Geopede. So I think I'm leaning red. I want you here. Which means we really just need to stack up on 2-drops in the next pack or 2 and we're okay. Plunder's okay. It's just another expensive card draw spell, though. I think I'd rather have another Blast for the size board. Yeah, you can change out lands when you're size boarding. This spun, which makes me happy. All right, so Teeter Peak Ambusher is a 2-drop I like quite a bit. I think I like it better than the Charger with what we're doing here. So, And we got plenty of spells to buy back. And this is sort of a 2-drop too. So, look, we're not really under the gun. But yeah, you can do that if you want to. It may be something we want to look at. But I think we've got enough reasons to be red now that short of opening some sort of crazy bomb, we're probably good to go. I think I'd rather have the first research than the second Spellcraft. I don't have wonderful removal, but I'd like to make sure we smooth out those draws. Electromancer I'll play. You're fine. It's a 3/2. Because like realistically, this should be a 6-drop. Hey, this guy's spun. Neat. We're getting there. So how many kickers we got is the question to ask ourselves. Because I'm gonna take it. I don't think there's really even any conversation about what would be better. But we're on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, realistically, some of those we're not likely to cast with kicker, but it doesn't matter. Like, just a 4-mana 2/2 is good enough. If we ever get a second one, we're happy. And we'd already be valuing most of the kicker spells anyway. Now, here's one of them minutes I'm going to do something a little crazy, and I think overvalue this Spland just a tad. Just a teeny tad. because we're so close on playables that like I'm gonna end up having to make cuts. And I think we'd play another Scorch Rider and potentially play another one of these, maybe even play a Glacial Grasp. But I know I can fit this in for free. So I think that's where I want to be now. Yeah, that's fair too. I'm not all that excited about it. Now we're starting to see some good green stuff. So there's a question of like, do we want to take this and flirt with green again? Because like, why are we playing red? We're playing red because of a spellcraft and a blast. Well, all of a sudden, the 2 drops are fine. I get a Gnarl Rid Colony and a Death Toucher. I think all of a sudden we were just green all along. Because like they passed a really good green rare and a Rabid Bite. Like the Rabid Bite probably would have been enough to make me think about it. You put it with that, and I'm just on board. And then now there's an Achrome Warrior. I don't understand. I'm still fine on playables this way. I can just take a Divner. Because I really want that if we're playing red. I still think green's going to be a little more open. Ah, it's getting close to the end. Let's take it. I wish I'd taken that blue-green ramp, a doodle. I'm sure. Pass me another Rabid Bite. Like, let me know this decision was a good one. Okay, so Geyser Mage. Sure, I'll play all of these we can get. It's weird to be playing green just for 2 drops. That seems really bad to me. Because this deck's going to want to be heavy blue. So my secondary color really can't do this. So we may still have to play the red cards. They're not bad. Yeah, we're almost mono blue, but I don't think we're likely to get there with mono blue. Like here, there's green cards to take, but not over Bubble Tea. And our deck just doesn't have anything to do on the early turns, right? Like we're going to disrupt Force Spike twice. Like, sure, we could do that. Yeah, seems good to me. I don't feel like I need another one of these. I feel like we just take the Expedition Divner and play Red Blue Skies. I don't think I'm running that. Okay, apparently we're getting all of these that we could possibly want. All right. So are we better off with the green or the red? I can't talk myself into splashing green for 1 and 2 drops. I thought I was going to see one more card that would kind of push me over the edge, and I didn't. Like I feel like the red's probably where I want to be. Because we've got 21 playables. I mean, technically 19, right? Ah, can't type. I don't want all of my early game to be counter spells. Hey, what's up, sister? How are you and the baby? I feel like red's just giving us more because it's giving us 2 drops plus threats plus decent spells and removal. Like I start playing this, we've got cuts to make. I think the deck wants 18 lands, counting these. So we're at 25. I need to make 3 cuts. I don't really need the Stalker. I can't really realistically cut anything with Kicker. I guess I don't have to play Molten Blast. It's not like required. And maybe we trim the Scorch Rider or one of the Divners. I guess it should be the Scorch Rider, and we'll try to get him in the air and tempo him out. I'm doing good. I don't know if your red is better than Blood Beckoning. So you would just play that and a Silencer or something? I don't think I like that. I don't think what we need is a 5-mana 3/3 flyer. Like, you can kill people with a Geopede. I think I'm on board for this. I think the argument was, do we play the green over the red? Or just try to go mono blue? And I just feel weird splashing green sort of for 4 2-drops, essentially. That doesn't seem good to me. That's fair. Blood Beckoning may just be better than all of this, and it's not giving me that much more. But I think that's why I want to play the lands, because, like, realistically, we could ACOG Disruption, and go. Like, the 2-drops don't look that bad when you consider them closer to this, right? Like, if I have to play out a Royal Mage, I can do that. I probably want 6 red sources in this, because I really only ever need 1. And that would give me 12 blue. I can probably go with 11, so we may as well put 1 more freebie in there. But I want to make sure that it's not going to be a problem to cast this early if I need to. Well, I wouldn't say I'm terrified of blanking on turn 2, but like, there's decks that will punish that. There's certainly decks that will punish that. All right, let's see what we can do with this. All right, we're going to blank turn 2, but we got a couple of 3-drops if we need them. The first one certainly comes out as a 3-drop currently, but... Yikes. I guess we're going to see the synergy deck versus the good cards deck, and then we'll have to make the determination on which one's better, because this is a synergy card. Now, what's neat is as it grows, this should hold it back, and as it grows, its mana cost doesn't change. So there's a possibility that I can just take it at some point. So that'll screw up their synergy as well as adding a large creature to my side. So I think we've still got a chance against this. It's fine. I'll draw it later. I think that still puts us on playing out the other Geezer Mage. Yeah, I think I like this. We're going to bubble tea this guy now. We're going to play out the other Geezer Mage. That should hold it back or make them use another removal spell, and then I'll just yoinks it next turn. Then we can start drawing cards and just win on card advantage. Because if they use a removal spell for this, that's great. If they cast another cleric, fine. I guess the only thing that would beat us is that Spland that's a feat of resistance, but they don't have that because they'd have to play it out as a land. Yeah, this is fine. Would you side out Lull Mage against a kicker deck with multiple Royal Geyser Mage? No. I would not. I'm going to just hold on to this for you. You don't need it right now. There you go. Killing your own stuff. I like it. Don't mind drop me, bro. I thought that was 7 to kick. It's only 6. That card's absurd. We didn't have the roost in play when they cast the feed, so there was no reason for them to expect that we had that. Sure. Countering a cheeseburger here, but that is not a cheeseburger I can counter. Makes me sad. Yeah, different art makes them go into separate piles, which I think makes it easier to count, personally. That thing's pretty good. I wish I'd left up the counterspell for a turn, huh?
Back from vacation, Corgo's dropping.
Thank you very much, Skullinate. Much appreciated. Turn up to 2 creatures. I think these 2 are good to go back. A player, I think I'd like a lot of stuff. Don't really need these. Spellcraft seems okay. I wish I had enough to do a counterspell, but I don't. They didn't have to die. Oh, yeah, they did. Okay. Neat. I like it when we win. You inadvertently triggered one of the newer emotes. We do have some size boarding to decide, but let's do our Stream Raiders battle. If you look in the donate panel, there are some new emotes, and that is one of them. That is not an Ugin laugh. That is a Semulin laugh, in case you didn't know. Howdy, Bagspace. Thank you very much for the bits, Skullinate. I appreciate it. We must spam some cats for Skullinate. But I have a couple soundboard emotes set up that you can trigger from there. Yeah, I think it's a good one too. A classic. Blauhorn with the kills, David with the assists, a captain's chest for ye all, healer scrolls for Richard, Michael, and Urberk. We continue on our way. And we got some stuff to kill, yo. All right, I'll tank it. So black-white clerics, huh? I don't think the green's going to be better against them. They've got a lot of spell-based removal, and I'm really concerned about that, but I think our 2 force spikes will help us there. So I don't think we have any sideboarding decisions to make as far as the cards, but we do have some knowledge gained. Yeah, but I mean, they're black-white. They probably got some, right? An older meme, but it checks out, sir. There's still half of their deck we didn't see. For all we know, they got 3 more of that guy. Sam would have been much better on the play. But that is not where we are. We will counter a cheeseburger here if given the opportunity to do so. Hello, cheeseburger. All right, all right, all right, all right. Let's take control the old-fashioned way. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. I'm going to enter the roilet. It will deal us 2. I can survive that. Man, if they've got to feed the swarm for this bubble tea, it's basically game over. Like, not 100% game over, but pretty close to game over. Is that the 2/6 angel? Because it's quite playable. Some would even argue good. I don't want to discard 2 cards. Yeah, that's the card my opponent has in their deck that I'm actively scared of. Is this the best format for Mind Rot has ever been? Nah, you got to go back 20 years to find those formats. Why did it moo? It still sounds like it moos to me. All right, so we need to bounce one of these, I think. Oh, I could just double block whichever one they don't trigger, right? Because like getting back Lol Mage's domination would be quite nice. Yeah, I think I like that. One, two, three, four, five. And now presumably they either will have a cleric or landfall. So we can trade for whichever one they don't have and then take the other one later. I don't super care about trading off for this, because we can start bouncing crap in a minute. Trying to sort of play around another Mind Rot and also have something in hand that can deal with that angel if they just slam it. Because the last card I'm a little worried about is the angel. I think we can beat nearly anything else. This should make a bounce pretty good. They needed to play out that bat to chomp, but they don't know I'm holding the Geyser Mage. Neat. I missed lethal? Did I? Oh yeah, I could have bounced it. Why would you do that? We can make them concede. That's the best way to win. You don't want to actually kill them. Yeah, I think I did. Fair. I like the deck. Good cards are good. And we're like 6-1 on the day. I'll take it so far. Yeah, we can play with this. There was some domination to be had for sure. I love this guy with domination. You get to 4 mana, you can just yoinks it. Although it may be tapped. It may be tapped. Yeah, if I'm not going to draw anything, it's going to be tapped. We did. We did. We took so many of their cards. We took their synergy. We added their synergy to our own. All right. Uno mas pulls. So if they move that and have a land, we're kind of borked. I don't like being balked. I suppose that means we just play the biggest thing and hope that they don't have the land. But hoping that red-green doesn't have a land or a combat trick seems somewhat stupid. We could draw a red source. That'd be mighty fine. They didn't move it first, so we've still got the option to block, unless they're just... Oh, okay. They're going real big. That's a big cat. So red source or into the royal is what we're looking for here. Ugh, this is not what I wanted. Okay, never mind. We were just going to lose. That's the good news. Because I can't draw another bubble tea. I can't block it down. We kind of just dead. We kind of just dead. I don't mind them knowing I have this. Like, they'd have already brought in broken wings against me anyway. But I suspect we're just dead. Yep. So we need early game. Glacial Grasp actually looks pretty reasonable against that equipment. Like, that can buy a lot of time. I'd have been very happy to have one there. I don't think I want the second Molten Blast. I'm not even playing the first. I do want the first Molten Blast. And I want the Glacial Grasp. Guy's not super impressive. I also don't think I'm killing them with the Riptide. And it's not blocking anything. That into green, easy peasy. There's a possibility we do that on the next game. But I think on the play I don't want to do that. Because, like, these cards are actually good against them. Like, Molten Blast can kill their little stuff early or kill the equipment if we want to. We could have blown up that dude with Spellcraft if we'd ever have red. Like, we didn't lose because the deck is bad. We lost because we played an 18-land deck and got stuck on 4 lands. Sucks. But that's not the deck's fault. That's just RNGesus. I mean, the most impressive thing about Glacial Grasp was the streamer who previewed it, because that was a remarkably handsome and talented Magic player. And I have found the card to be decent in Rogues. Nah. You don't need that. Now, this is where Inscription of Insight looks a lot worse than the Divination. Can anybody tell me why? Because we're just dying to hit a land drop here, and we don't have one. Thinking. Sold. Land pulls? Not land. Not a land. I got so much to do on 4, but none of them lands. I don't usually play this out on its own, but I think I kind of have to here. Because, like, we're going to have to end the Royal and Bubble Tea to stay alive, so I'm counting on drawing a land. I mean, that's going to happen some number of drafts, so what you want to do is capitalize on the drafts where that doesn't happen. Like, land here is brutal for us. Because we're effectively terminating this dude. Like, that ain't coming back down for a while. Hiya. Sold you guys on Geopede yet? I probably should have taken that instead of bubble teeing it, to be fair. There's certainly a consideration for it. I didn't think about it. All right, I like that one better because we drew lands. I like drawing lands. They sided in a Broken Wings, which I don't blame them, but we need to remember they have it. Like, it's really good against our deck. They've got multiple Electromancers. I don't actually want the 4/3, which is the last thing I was thinking about. The main cards they have that we care about are their landfall cards. I feel like if we can take care of the rest, we're good to go. It's a fun format, Andy. I think I like it. I think I like it a lot. We know they have a Mitre Marasa, so we need to do this now. Like, just trading cards with them is great for us. Like, I'll happily trade this guy for that guy. And if they're using removal spells here, they're just getting in for 1 point a turn. We can take that. They didn't mull. We've just got a lot of card draw. Well, we're going to need to hit something else too, right? Like, it's not just that, but... Because they're presumably going to cast the 6/5 next. We bubble tea it, then they break the enchantment, and we're in trouble again. But if they pick up the lands, we can bounce it and buy a ton of time. A Hellhound? Okay. This is a lot of lands. I will stop being too proud to bubble tea this next turn. This is game 3. What you thinking about, buddy? All right, I do kind of got to stop being too proud. Although I'd really like the scry off of this, I need to stop taking this damage. That just kind of leave me on nothing. I'm nervous that they go roiling regrowth and get me, but with nothing else in hand, I don't think I can actually do it yet. If I'd drawn literally anything else, I think we start thinking about it, but this is a lot of lands. I suspect they've got Might of Marasa, but... that was going to get me no matter which way I went. They may not have a ton of big stuff. I hope they don't. Hey, Enix, thank you for the resub. Y'all spam some cats for Enix. That is much appreciated. I think I want the Molten Blast. Lets me trade with 2 things. Because I can block this and burn that. I'm going to have to bubble tea this thing. Y'all spam some cats for NX. Thank you. Because I really don't want to go down to 5. That is a scary place. Is this stable? It feels stable adjacent at least. I like that. Sure. You can go 0-3. I usually drop after 2 losses. It doesn't happen very often, but this means if they play a creature, they're dead, which is pretty neat. All right, we'll take it. I don't yet know how to pause the video recording. I don't think I can do that in OBS, but I do need to run to the bathroom. I'm going to do it really quickly because we're doing our YouTube draft. So chat, actually, I know what we'll do. We'll fire off the Stream Raiders battle, and I'll be back in less than a minute. So YouTube, enjoy this, and we'll see you back in just a second. There, that wasn't so bad. Thank you for your patience, chat and YouTube. We have Gabri with the kills, Grumpy Ajani with the assists. A captain's chest for ye all, gold for everybody, scrolls for David, Tiger, Urberk, Sparrow, and Techno Shaman. All right, and one more for all of the marbles. Remember to kill these ranged duders. We need lines of tanks and lines of range behind them. Yes, marbles on stream. Yeah, but if you really want to play, like if you go O2 and you really want to play out your games, you can play out your games. I just usually like to win the draft. So like if I'm not going to get any more prizes, I'd rather just draft again. It's going so good so far, Barry. There's some argument that if you go 0-2, you should play the last game anyway, because you'll probably be tilted if you just go immediately into another draft. At least is my guess. All right, let's party. Hopefully they don't do anything for the first 11 turns. I guess if I have to, I can run out home slice to trade for a 3-2. I don't think I want to, but I could. Maybe I still do it now. Because we're looking to go Roost into Falconer. So I should, like, this may not trade with anything they have on board now, but it might trade with their next play, or at least attack. I probably should have played it last turn. Oh, lordy. All right. This is going to be interesting. That's fair too, Floppy, and I don't have any issue with that. It's you don't even have to concede. Like, do what makes you happy. A lot of damage they're bringing at me. This Into the Royal is going to hurt too, but okay, that's functionally the same card. I think I'm dead. I'd really like to not be. Stop it! Why you do this? So I need them to play a decent 3-drop blocker and me to top deck an island, and we can talk. Okay. Island sort of has some possibilities here, because we'd be able to take that and chump this and go to 3. As it is, I think we're just done, though. We needed the other blue source. Because I don't think playing out the GOP does anything. There's just too many of them. We talked some when we had Dave on about this potentially being a curve out format, and it looks more and more like it might be. I like the adjustment we made versus the last landfall deck where we consider the Glacial Grasp. I'm not entirely sure I want the Molten Blast for this one, though, because they didn't show me anything small enough for that to kill. But I do think I like a Glacial Grasp for starters. And this Electromancer just isn't really realistically doing anything for us. It's a bit unlucky to draw that many mountains. If I had drawn one less mountain, we could have used the Jawari Disruption to try and counter something. And I think we had times where we were able to do that. I just had to fire it off sooner than I wanted. This is a better hand, at least. We got that going for us. Gruul Jazz Elemental. Whee! I mean, new players got to learn how to draft somewhere too, man. It is what it is. My first draft decks were pretty awful too. I'd be embarrassed to show them to you guys these days. Yeah. They faced mill once and were like, never again. Never again will this get me. Huh, fair, Joey. I'll see if we can help with that. I feel like as much card draw as this deck has that I just want to trade resources with them for a while. Because I've got to have more card draw than they do. That's pretty good, Michael. I'll tell you what, I'm bouncing. Oh, it's non-land permanent, so I can't actually bounce it unless I do it with this dude. I mean, we can play the little land destruction, right? Yeah, because that's a Kalini ambush. So how about you just never get that back? That can just sit here, do its thing. We're good. You don't need to get that back. Dang it, Bobby. I was using that. I probably need to just be playing this out. I'm being a little greedy. Don't judge me. Yeah, if I'd played this out a couple turns ago, it'd be better for us. But I'll take it. Well, my plan was to bounce this, but I may have to change my plan now. Because they're being mean. Let's just get a land first, and then we can talk about this stuff. Because step one is get stable. Don't need these lands. It's not about value right now. It's about staying alive. So we're going to see about doing that. All these landfall cards are significantly better when you're ahead because they just can't block as big. Sure. I like blocking. Does the Drake actually block anything here? Not really. Whereas if I do this, I'm at least threatening to trade with this and block that. I'm kind of nervous we're going to get Might of Marausid here, but that Merfolk lost me a few games. I do not like that one. This one? Or the Chronicler? They're both good. You need to build around the Chronicler, whereas the Falconeer, you can just throw it in a deck and it's going to be fine. I've had good decks with the Chronicler, but it's a synergy card, right? That is thy concern with it. One, two, three, 1, 2. Okay, so I do need to actually bounce something next turn, but then having the grasp would be nice. Assuming we get a next turn. There's no guarantee we're getting a next turn. I strongly suspect we're not getting a next turn, but... why would you ever not want to? I guess if your library's about milled out against rogues, but other than that, like that's not a downside. Well, if you didn't have the lands for them, that ain't the card that lost it for you. Thank you for the bits, Skinnier Coder. Much appreciated. I'm dead. More or less. I can at least see dead from here. This is scary. Thank you very much, Coder. Y'all spam some cats for Coder. I should be dead to a combat trick because it's +3/+3, and they've been repping it most of the game. I think they're worried I have another End of the Royal, but I mean, you go for it here. Yeah, that'll do, Pig. I think we had a shot on that first game if I'd drawn 2 islands. The second one, we just got kind of outplayed. Well, out-tempoed, I guess. That was a good kicker deck. You also just don't know what's getting milled, right? But don't let Schrodinger's card get you. We can talk more about that in a little bit. For now, I want to say thank you to the boys and girls of YouTube for watching this draft. Chat, say goodbye to YouTube. That puts us 7-2 on the day, which I think I'm pretty happy with. Like, I feel like the gym printer's got its toner back, and we can start doing our thing. Appreciate y'all watching on the YouTubes. We will see you next time for another YouTube draft.